The reappointment of Roy Hodgson as Crystal Palace manager may have been an underwhelming choice, but it's happened, there's now a manager in place, and it's time to look to the future and build a team capable of reaching the ambitions of finishing at least the top half of the Premier League table. In my opinion, these 5 players would make Palace into that team in what I believe would be the perfect summer transfer window. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel and welcome to another in real life football video. I know I said in the last video, if you watched it, that these in real life videos would not all be about Crystal Palace, but this one is, because I'm looking at who I believe would be the 5 perfect signings for Crystal Palace in this summer transfer window to make them into a much better team. Let's have a look, shall we? First up on the list is Callum HudsonOdoi, the Chelsea winger who is reportedly surplus to requirements at Stamford Bridge and has apparently said that his chosen destination would be Crystal Palace, despite the fact that other teams seem to be interested in him as well. So, if he wants to come to Palace, Chelsea want to get rid of him, Steve Parish and Dougie Freedman should be all over it. I believe that he would be the perfect replacement for Will Zaha, who, as we all know, his future is up in the air. Everyone's known he's going to be out of contract for so long. Still, there's no decision. Apparently, Palace put a contract offer on the table in April. Still hasn't signed the new one. He's now left the club out of contract. And nobody knows where he's going to end up next. So instead of waiting around to find out what Zaha's decision is, the powers that be at Palace should be contacting Chelsea and putting in a firm offer for the 22-year-old Chelsea winger. He's a fully capped England international. He's made 120 senior appearances for Chelsea. He played 21 times in the Bundesliga last season for Leverkusen. And I reckon, or in reports and stuff, it'd probably be available for around 10 to 15 mil. Which, for someone of Hudson-Odoi's potential and quality, ain't much to spend, really. I know he hasn't exactly had the best couple of years, but he's got a lot of qualities that would fit into the Palace team, and I believe that Hodgson could get him back to his best. He's quick, he's got explosive pace, he can take players on at will, his passing and crossing ability is fantastic, he can dribble, he changes direction well, and at pace as well, so he's versatile, he can play in several different positions, and he's scored his fair share of goals as well. He's assisted loads, he's scored quite a few, and I believe that he would fit into the Palace team perfectly on either side of the attack and add to the attacking threat that is already there. He's young, he's talented, he's got something to prove after basically being shunned at Chelsea, and he could once again show the world how good he is and help Palace move forward in their ambitions for at least the top half finishes coming season. Next up is another talented English player who's become surplus to requirements at a bigger club, Ainsley MaitlandNiles, and he would also be a perfect fit for Palace. Versatility is one of his main strengths. He's got experience playing in 7 different positions. Right midfield's where he's featured most throughout his career, but he's equally adept at right back, and he can play in the centre of midfield where he can play as a traditional centre mid or as a defensive midfielder. He's also played at left back, left midfield and in the centre of defence. And actually, if you think about it, he played at right wing back for Roma, so that's 8 different positions that he's played throughout his career. He's another one who's quick, he's strong, he's athletic, he's got a great work rate, a good footballing brain, his movement's excellent, his position is solid, his defensive qualities are absolutely brilliant. So if he did play at right back, where Palace kind of struggle, I have got someone else coming up in a minute though for right back. So Ainsley Maitland-Niles, to me, I'd envisage him going straight into the team on the right wing as a replacement for the injured Michael Olise. But then he would give Roy Hodgson a lot of tactical options when everyone was fully fit again. He's capped 5 times by England. He's had several loan spells out in recent years, including at Southampton last season. And that's kind of seen his potential hampered a little bit. He's now 25 years old and he could do with a permanent home, to be honest, to try and get back to his best, try and get back in the England setup and show everyone what he's all about. And he would get the chance of regular playing time at Crystal Palace, and I believe Selhurst Park could be a fantastic home for him. And what's more, he's available on a free transfer. Third on the list, and that right back that I just mentioned, is 23-year-old Max Aarons. He spent his entire career at Norwich City. He's made over 200 appearances for him in the Premier League and the Championship over the course of 5 seasons, and he's an England under-21 international. But it's my belief that he needs to start thinking of a future outside Norfolk if he wants to become a full England international anytime soon and live up to the potential and the hype that's surrounded him for the last few seasons. Ideally, he will find a home at an established Premier League team, and I believe that that team could and should be Crystal Palace. Palace have failed to find a replacement for Aaron Wan-Bissaka since he left to join Man United for 50 million in 2019, and the only options at right back going into the new season are the ageing pair of Joel Ward and Nathaniel Klein, who are both past their best, and the injury-prone Nathan Ferguson, who's played about 8 minutes of football in 3 seasons. Now, I believe Aarons would be the perfect signing for Palace and finally be that long-awaited replacement for Wan-Bissaka that Palace fans have been crying out for. He's also able to play at left-back, so that might be a kick up the backside for Tyrick Mitchell, a wake-up call. He's had no competition for his place in recent seasons, and I believe he's deteriorated as a player. Maybe having someone like Max Aarons, especially if Palace sign Maitland-Niles as well, there's cover there for both sides at right back and left back, and it would make Palace a better team in defence, and they'll have players that can go forward as well. Anyone who follows football knows the qualities that Max Aarons possesses, and for a fee of probably around 10 to 15 million pounds, he'd be able to showcase those qualities at Selhurst Park. I believe it'd be a perfect signing for Palace, and hopefully someone who has the power to bring Aarons to Selhurst Park will think so too. Palace have had trouble finding a striker who can score goals for a very, very long time. Their current 2 main strikers of Hudson-Odoi and Jean-Philippe Mateta have got a total of 19 Premier League goals in 121 league appearances between them. Last season, Edouard netted 4 times in 33 league games, and Mateta found the net twice in 27 in the Premier League. So, alright, most of their appearances were bit part roles, but that return is not good enough by any stretch of the imagination. So a new striker is needed and should be top of Steve Parish and Dougie Freedman and Roy Hodgson's list of players to bring in. They need a striker who can score goals and cause defences more problems than Edouard and Mateta have done. I believe that striker could be Musa Dembele, who's now available on a free transfer after spending 5 years with Lyon in France. He scored only 3 goals last season, and I read a report that said that, I think it was an Italian newspaper or something like that, said that basically he's been living on past glories, but he's got a total of 56 goals in 129 league games for Lyon in France. He netted 51 times in 94 games in all competitions for Celtic before that. He's still only 26 years old. He's got experience in the top flight in England, Scotland, France and Spain. He's represented France internationally at every level up to under 21. He's got a decent goal scoring record, and he's got many other attributes that make him a great forward player as well. His movement's good. He makes great runs in behind defenders. He pulls defenders out of position that makes space for other attackers to exploit. Can you imagine in there moving, bringing the defenders away and allowing players like Elise and Eze to bomb through? He's got great positioning, great awareness, and with him leading the attack at Selhurst Park, I believe it would dramatically increase Palace's threat in front of goal. Then it makes Palace a better team attacking all round. Right, the 5th and final name on my list is Ronnie Edwards, and some people will say it's a poor option, that people will be saying, oh, he ain't going to be good enough, he's too young, he's this, that and the other, but I believe he would make a great signing for Palace. He's been a name mentioned as a transfer target for Palace and quite a few other clubs, to be honest, for quite a while now. He's only 20 years old, he's got bags of potential, and he's excelled at lower level in the last couple of seasons, including playing in the Championship. He's made over 80 senior appearances for Peterborough United, and he's been on the radar of many Premier League clubs due to his performances. Honestly, he looks like the sort of player who would adjust to life in the Premier League pretty easily, and I don't think it would cost a fortune for Palace to bring him to Selhurst Park. A fee of around about 10 million may need to be paid, but maybe Palace could do a deal where it could mostly be through add-ons and bonuses, or maybe they could strike a deal where they send a couple of their own younger players out to Peterborough on loan as part of the deal. It's a win. It sounds like a win-win situation all round, to be fair. Palace get a defender that they've been after for a while, who's got bags of potential. Peterborough get a couple of younger players who are going to get first-team experience in the Championship. Maybe players like Raksaki or players like that maybe they do want to send out on loan. David Ozo or something like. It's players that could go out there, make Peterborough a better side, and Palace get Ronnie Edwards. He's under 6 foot, and his aerial abilities need a bit of work, so that could be a problem for a lot of clubs, but he does have wonderful defensive qualities. His movement, positioning, reading of the game, they're excellent. His passing ability is fantastic, both playing short passes out of defence or long cross-field passes that turn defence into attack in a blink of an eye. Bit like Josie Anderson. Also, he stays focused. He shows great concentration and he doesn't make too many mistakes. If Anderson or Mark Gurhey do leave Palace, which has the potential to happen, most fans will demand that Palace bring in someone with more experience and more proven top-flight ability and stuff. They've been mentioned with Per Schurz, but it looks like Liverpool are going to be jumping all over him. And Chris Richards would probably be likely to be the one that would step up and come in if Anderson or Gurhey did leave. But Edwards would be a very, very good backup, in my opinion. In a few months, a season, maybe 2 seasons, he could be the main man in defence for Palace and even England. Like he's got the potential to be a fantastic player, and I believe it would be worth the risk to spend the money, bring him to Selhurst Park, put him in the Palace team, and see how he gets on. Right, so that's the 5 players, and this is how they fit into the starting 11. Obviously, Michael Olise is currently injured. He would definitely be in the starting lineup if he was fit, but this is the team that I believe would play the first game of the season if these 5 players were signed by Crystal Palace this summer. It would be Johnston in goal, Max Aarons at right back, Mitchell at left back, Gurhey and Anderson in the centre of defence. Obviously, if one of those does go out the exit door before the start of the season, Chris Richards comes in and replaces whichever one goes out the door. Decore and Lerma in the centre of midfield, both as kind of sitting in that defensive midfield position, one of them just moving on at times to support the attack. Maitland-Niles on the right, Hudson-Odoi on the left, Eze as the attacking midfielder, and then Musa Dembele as the advanced lone striker. Obviously, the way that the team would then play is you would have Aarons bombing up the right to overlap with Maitland-Niles, Mitchell coming to overlap with Hudson-Odoi, Hudson-Odoi and Maitland-Niles both being given permission to kind of cut inside. And then you've got Dembele who would draw the defenders away to allow space for players like Eze to come in from the advanced midfield attacking position. It's an exciting looking team. It's one that is much better on paper than the team that Palace are likely to put out. If you think it's likely to start with Joel Ward at right back, Jordan Ayew on the right hand side, Jeffrey Schlupp on the left hand side, and Hudson-Odoi up front. So you think you take those players out and replace them with the likes of Aarons, Hudson-Odoi, Maitland-Niles and Dembele, and that is a team to me that looks like it could finish top half of the Premier League season, push on. Obviously, every single one of those players has got question marks over them. Every one of them has got something to prove, and I believe that they would be able to prove it at Selhurst Park. But the chances of this actually happening are pretty slim, although stranger things have happened. So let's just see what happens. Hopefully Palace will be able to bring these players in or players of a similar quality to make the team a bit more exciting and push on for what Roy Hodgson said is the ambition of finishing in the top half of the Premier League this season. So that's it. That's my 5 players to give Palace the perfect summer transfer window. And you think about it, it wouldn't even cost that much money either. You're looking at about 10 to 15 mil for Aarons, 10 to 15 mil for Hudson-Odoi, up to about 10 million for Ronnie Edwards that you could probably mostly do on add-ons. So you're looking at a maximum of about 35 to 40 mil. And if you can't afford to spend that after more than a decade in the Premier League, then there's something seriously wrong and questions need to be asked. But Palace do seem averse to spending money most of the time, so you'll have to just wait and see what happens. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, tell all your friends about the channel. Like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff, and hopefully I will see you all again soon. But for now, bye-bye.